Tonight on NewsWatch Ole Miss, two local students are getting an early start on their careers as business owners by lending a helpful hand to their furry friends. Find out what they're undertaking.
Over the last 2 weeks, the U.S. has seen a rise in coronavirus cases. But will this spike be as dangerous as the Delta variant proved to be this summer? We'll take a look at those numbers straight ahead.
Today, the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse is wrapping up in Wisconsin. We'll take you to Kenosha, where the defense and prosecution are making their closing arguments today. NewsWatch Ole Miss starts now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Jeriel Johnson.
And I'm Mason Ciano. Local businesses everywhere have struggled to keep the doors open since the start of the pandemic. But that's not stopping two Ole Miss students who are kickstarting their careers as entrepreneurs by helping local animal shelters. NewsWatch reporter Sarah Gail Myers caught up with them to learn more about their project.
Hey, there a coon up there?
According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, since the pandemic, there has been a huge increase in new business applications submitted, specifically from younger college students who have been rethinking their traditional career choices. Ole Miss student Bo Singer and his partner Brandon Waltz became a part of this surge when they decided to combine their entrepreneurial spirits and passionate love for dogs.
I kind of realized that I kind of wanted to do my own thing and be an entrepreneur, and when those two paths kind of crossed, it's probably the happiest I've ever been.
Devoted Dog Bowl is a company that sells merchandise like customized dog bowls, and 15% of the profits go as donations to local non-kill animal shelters. They also offer links to only donate without buying anything. Many of these shelters are in drastic need of funds just to stay in business, and there are millions of animals all over the country that are in desperate need of these shelters.
We lose money when people donate, but that's okay because our whole goal is to actually make a difference here. You know what I'm saying?
Singer has big hopes for Devoted Dog Bowl. He and Waltz are traveling across the country over Christmas break to partner with shelters and help grow their business.
It's our baby, you know, it's our little baby, and we just want to do everything we can to protect it and grow it and make it happy.
The young men believe that this business has a lot of potential and they are excited for what the future holds. I'm Sarah Gail Myers, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
You can donate and learn more about their business on its website at devoteddogbowl.com.
Today, Governor Tate Reeves unveiled his fiscal year 2023 executive budget plan. In the past, Reeves has focused on economic growth, educational gains, public safety, workforce development, and a lower tax burden on Mississippians. This time, the governor's top priorities are increasing skills training, investing in infrastructure, eliminating the income tax, improving education, raising teacher pay, empowering police officers, ensuring election integrity, and fighting back against critical race theory. Reeves promises to stop at nothing to make Mississippi the best state in the country to live, work, and raise a family in.
COVID numbers are slightly up in Mississippi. Today, the State Department of Health reported 806 new cases and identified 16 deaths over this past weekend. That rises above the 560 cases and 5 deaths from the previous weekend, November 5th through 7th. The state is now over 509,000 cases and has reported 10,203 deaths since the pandemic began.
That slight upward trend is popping up across the country, not just in Mississippi. Johns Hopkins University reported a national average of about 82,000 new cases each day. That's an 11% increase from just 2 weeks ago. 20 out of the 50 states are currently witnessing a rise in cases, particularly in the northern part of the country. While cases rise, death rates are down almost 10% over that same period. Hospitalizations are also down by around 3%.
Also on the COVID front, new research revealed an interesting link between medicine and the virus. A study published in the current volume of the science journal JAMA Network Open revealed that antidepressants may lead to a reduced mortality from COVID-19. Researchers combing through over 83,000 medical records of COVID patients discovered that those taking Prozac were 28% less likely to die from the virus. People taking Luvox were 26% less likely, and others taking certain selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors had an 8% decrease in fatality rates. The reason for this effect is unclear, but one theory is that antidepressants may reduce inflammatory compounds that have adverse effects in severe COVID infections.
Just 2 weeks after Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine became available to children 5 to 11 years old, the Centers for Disease Control reported that more than 1 million children from that age group already have their first shot. Currently, 195 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. That is 59% of the U.S. population. Of those fully vaccinated, around 15% have already gotten a booster shot.
The university is attempting to build a relationship with industry in the region. Ole Miss has launched a new industry engagement hub, a website designed to showcase ideas, resources, and success stories as a way to inspire industry leaders to partner with the university. The hub was developed with the university's Industry Engagement Council, which was formed in 2019 to create strategic alliances between the university and industry. The website provides prospective partners with examples of industry partnerships that have mutually benefited both companies and the university. Chancellor Boyd said industry-university partnerships are a great way for the university to share its academic work with industries to be an economic driver that positively impacts society.
The Ole Miss Alumni Association has opened nominations for its first annual 40 Under 40 Awards. These awards will spotlight selected alumni across a variety of fields who have made a significant impact in their professions and endeavors. To be eligible, nominees must be 39 years old or younger, be an active member of the Alumni Association, have made a significant impact in their industry, have civic or professional achievements, aspire to uphold the values of the UM Creed, and have earned an undergraduate degree from the university. Nominations can be submitted through December 3rd at olemmissalumni.com/nominate40. Recipients will be announced in the spring with a reception and ceremony on March 25th.
The university's Center for Inclusion and Cross-Cultural Engagement is asking you to be all in, all year. The All In, All Year campaign will feature a year-long calendar of events to highlight the diverse cultures of the university's students, faculty, and staff. Currently, the CICCE is celebrating Native American History Month. Tonight, there will be an event at 6 in the Alumni Center featuring members of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. The CICCE is welcoming events for the spring 2022 semester. Interested parties can complete a form on the inclusion.olemiss.edu site before January 4th, 2022 to be included on next semester's calendar.
The National Guard is on standby in Kenosha as the whole country awaits the verdict in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. We'll take you to the courtroom where arguments are ending today coming up. But first, here's a look at your current conditions.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Mom! I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got slapped.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The closing arguments in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse are underway now. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, CNN's Isabella Rosales has the latest details on the trial.
2 weeks in a Kenosha County courthouse, and it's all come down to this.
I think it's no surprise that this is a case that there's a lot of noise and a lot of static surrounding it. If you're the one who is threatening others, you lose the right to claim self-defense.
In closing arguments, prosecutors say Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 unarmed people and severely wounded a third person with an AR-15 style weapon that he knew he couldn't have. But the 17-year-old's attorneys say Rittenhouse fired the shots to protect himself.
Did you hear one word out of Mr. Binger's mouth about provocation? You didn't, because it was never said. But when his case explodes in his face, now he comes out with provocation.
Also today, the judge dismissed a misdemeanor weapons possession charge against Rittenhouse. As for the other charges against him, jurors will first consider each original offense. However, if they decide Rittenhouse is not guilty, the jury can consider corresponding lesser offenses for 2 counts.
So I didn't do anything wrong. I defended myself.
Last week, Rittenhouse testified he acted in self-defense. He's pleaded not guilty to all charges. If convicted of the most serious charge against him, he faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
500 Wisconsin National Guard soldiers are on standby to deploy in Kenosha if local law enforcement needs help with any potential unrest following the verdict. But they will only move into Kenosha if local agencies request it.
Today in the trial of 3 men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery, defense attorney Kevin Goff, who asked the judge last week to limit the number of black pastors allowed in the courtroom in order to keep the jury from being swayed by their presence with the Arbery family, requested that the court keep a record of everyone who enters the courtroom. The judge presiding over the case felt otherwise.
The court's position is if somebody is in the gallery here as a member of the public, that's their right to be here, and I'm not going to track individual members of the public who come in and out of this courtroom. If anybody is disruptive or there's a distraction that the court needs to address, I'll go ahead and address that, and we'll make sure that the record is clear about that.
Today, Reverend Jesse Jackson was in attendance at the trial. Jackson was announced that he would attend the trial following Goff's request to limit black pastors. Today, Goff formally requested a mistrial and said that a mob mentality surrounded the case and caused city leaders to fear for the safety of the city. He also formally asked the court to submit into the record that Jackson's mask was below his nose.
Last night, the deadly Astroworld Festival claimed its 10th life. A 9-year-old boy who had been on life support died yesterday from his injuries. Treston Blunt took his son Ezra to see Travis Scott, and Blunt says he stayed toward the back of the crowd for safety. He had Ezra on his shoulder so the boy could see, but when the rush occurred in the crowd, Treston was pushed down and knocked out. When he regained consciousness, he could not find his son. Houston police later told him that his son had been trampled by the crowd and was critically injured.
Today, former Trump advisor Steve Bannon surrendered himself on charges of contempt of court for his refusal to appear for a deposition and another because of his refusal to produce documents to the House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection. Each count carries a maximum of 1 year in jail, in addition to an up to $100,000 fine. Though he won't be detained, Bannon must go to weekly check-ins, surrender his passport, and seek court approval for travel.
Today, President Biden signed a new executive order to support Native American communities. It came during today's Tribal Nations Summit at the White House, the first of its kind since the Obama presidency. The new initiative instructs 17 different federal departments and agencies to protect tribal treaty rights. The actions include increasing tribal participation in managing federal lands, using tribal knowledge in the fight against climate change, and addressing violence against Native Americans.
This morning, former United States Congressman and presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke announced that he is running for Texas governor's seat. O'Rourke hasn't held public office since losing his 2018 Senate race to Ted Cruz. Now he's challenging current Texas Governor Greg Abbott in next year's election. Abbott, who is seeking his third term as governor of the Lone Star State, already launched a series of attack ads on YouTube that target O'Rourke's stance on gun control, health care, immigration, and Black Lives Matter. Oscar-winning actor Matthew McConaughey is also considering a campaign for the governorship of Texas.
Saif al-Islam Gaddafi has submitted his candidacy for the Libyan presidency. Gaddafi is the son of late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi is wanted by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity and was sentenced to death by a Tripoli court in 2015. He was captured by a rebel group in 2011 and held for years until the militia announced his release in 2017. Gaddafi has been out of the public eye since, until an interview with the New York Times earlier this year. As of today, he is the second candidate to apply for the presidency position.
Today is the first day of the latest lockdown in Austria. Under the new lockdown, no one over the age of 12 who isn't vaccinated can leave their house with very few exceptions. There are checkpoints throughout the country to make sure that the lockdown is being followed. About 65% of the country's population is fully vaccinated, which is among the lowest vaccination rates in Europe. Prior to the lockdown, unvaccinated people were already banned from entertainment venues and restaurants, among other public areas.
Coming up in sports, in perhaps the biggest game of the season, the Land Shark defense was swarming on Saturday against the Aggies. And the men's basketball team was able to put another dub in the win column after their hardwood matchup against Charleston Southern. Find out more up next in sports.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
On October 15th, 2017, two words changed the course of history. The words we wrote that day are a part of a longer and even more powerful history.
The wounds become scars.
Things are changing.
We really need everyone's voices.
Today, we all have a chance to write another chapter, powered by everyday activism as simple as joining a march or reading a book, written to a permanent archive on a public blockchain.
Because it takes a sea of us coming forward to demand change.
Because no matter who you are, you can act too. The end of sexual violence begins with this next act.
Times during class, and I tell her to talk to him, and it's like, oh, ew.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
The Ole Miss Rebels came out on top again after a marquee 29-19 win over Texas A&M on Saturday. The offense showed signs of life again after battling injuries the past few weeks, but had a hard time finishing in the red zone. Luckily, the defense had very little problem with the Aggie offense and was able to seal a victory after 2 late turnovers in the fourth quarter. Ashanti Sistrunk got an interception that put Ole Miss in perfect scoring position for Snoop Connor to run it in to give the Rebs a little bit of breathing room. AJ Finley then iced the game with a huge pick six to hand the Rebels another massive SEC West win. And after the big win, head coach Lane Kiffin was in good spirits in his post-game press conference Saturday and had nothing but positive things to say about this Ole Miss team.
That was a great game by the defense. You know, that is a team that was playing as well as anybody in America coming in, I think 4 wins in a row and beating Alabama. And, we continue to stop them. We scored twice on defense, which is amazing, with the safety and the touchdown. And it was really neat.
Coach Kiffin and this Ole Miss team had a very eventful day full of college game day appearances and historic wins on Saturday. But this week, all eyes will be on Vanderbilt and getting to 1-0 this week. Ole Miss looks to have no prior injuries, but I am still recovering from the game with a lost voice. The 2020 Connerly Trophy finalists have been announced, and to no one's surprise, Matt Corral is one of the 10 finalists. The Connerly Trophy is presented to the best college football player in Mississippi each year. Among the finalists is Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers, Southern Mississippi defensive back Malik Shorts, and Jackson State freshman quarterback Shadur Sanders. The 2020 award went to Ole Miss wide receiver Elijah Moore, who played in 8 games and had 1,193 total yards, along with 8 touchdowns. The trophy will be presented on Tuesday, November 30th at the Jackson Country Club. In local high school news, both Oxford teams are advancing to the high school football next round of playoffs. Over the weekend, Lafayette High School defeated Holmes County to move to 11-2 this season. The Commodores will travel to play the undefeated Neshoba Central Rockets this Friday at 7 p.m. The Oxford Chargers got on the board early over the South Panola Tigers and held on to get the big win in Batesville. The Chargers will travel to Madison Central next week for the next round of playoffs. Now for some action on the hardwood. The Rebels left no doubt in a blowout 93-68 win over Charleston Central. Ole Miss was fantastic on Friday night, draining more than 50% of their shots from the field. Jarkel Joyner played lights out with 24 points and a career-high 7 assists. He had 3 rebounds and was able to hit 4 threes. Austin Crowley was also able to have a career-high 9 assists along with his 11 points on the night. Ole Miss will hit the road for the first time this season as they head to the Shriners Children's Charleston Classic this weekend. Staying on the court, the women's basketball team notched their first win this season after suffering a tough loss to Belmont early last week. On Sunday, Ole Miss controlled Mississippi Valley State throughout the entire 94-44 victory. In only her second game as a Rebel, transfer Angel Baker led Ole Miss with 18 points and 8 rebounds on the day. It was a team effort on Sunday as Ole Miss dished out 24 total assists. The Rebs are in for a quick turnaround as they return to the SJB Pavilion to face Lamar on Tuesday night. Tune in to SEC Network Plus at 6 p.m. Central Time. And that's all I've got for sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch for the latest sports updates.
Thanks, Ruby. And if you're stressed about putting together a perfect spread for Thanksgiving, don't worry about dessert. One Candy Company has got you covered. Find out what they're putting up on the table next up on NewsWatch Ole Miss.
I want to eat.
to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
We are rebels. For more than 160 years, we've been accomplishing the impossible, from conducting the world's first lung transplant to helping prove Einstein was right. From preserving the past to saving the future. We are Mississippi's flagship university, a place where passion and learning unite, where friends become family, where small-town charm meets world-class innovation. We are the University of Mississippi. We are Ole Miss.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on
it. Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
This Thanksgiving, there's a new dessert in town. Reese's has been making holiday-themed peanut butter cups for years, from pumpkins and Christmas trees to hearts and eggs. Now they're cashing in on Thanksgiving with a peanut butter cup the size of a pie.
That's right. That cup you're looking at is a full 9 inches across and weighs nearly 3.5 pounds. The treat is here only for a limited time, and they are only making 3,000. You can order yours on the Hershey's website for around $45 plus tax.
You know, I love Reese's, but that just might be too much.
No, okay, Hershey's, hear me out. A regular pie, but with Reese's inside.
There you go. Well, that's all we got for tonight. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Mason CNO.
And I'm Darielle Johnson. Make sure to follow us on social media at NewsWatch Ole Miss for the latest on Ole Miss Oxford Community.
Thank you and good night.